All right, welcome back to another video. Hey, we're almost ready to hit 300 subscribers, so thank you everyone who has subscribed. If you like these kind of teachings with these kind of principles and whatnot, please like the video and share it with other people so we can spread the love, spread the wisdom around, and we can all raise the global consciousness level together. So today I'm on Hermetic principle number 2. This principle is the law of correspondence. And, what does correspond means? It means relating to something else, right? So the two phrases that are in the Kybalion are as above, so below, and as within, so, well, I gotta spell right, without. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that everything in your inner world is mirrored to your outer world. See, reality is a mirror, and the outside reality shows you who you are being in your internal world. You will never outperform your self-image. That is that defines who you are and what you say, who you interact with, and how you act in the world. So the self-image, the internal self-image, is represented by your external world, your outside world, and the results that you're getting in your outside world. This isn't just a good saying, this is a blueprint for reality here. Maxwell Maltz, he wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and that book is all about your self-image. He was a plastic surgeon, right? So he was transforming people's faces. He was removing big scars off people's faces. And he noticed that some people that he would operate on, he would change their appearance and they would be changed, their whole life would change and they would go on to live a great life. Before, they lived in full of fear and of self-consciousness about some kind of their nose or a scar or some facial feature, and then when Maxwell would change their face, that would disappear and then their personality would literally change overnight. But he also noticed that some people would have the scar removed or their nose reshaped or whatever the facial feature is redefined, and their personality would not change and their internal self-image had no effect, and therefore their life never changed. It would continue on. Actually, he even said in his book that he would remove a massive scar from somebody's face sometimes, and they would say, "You didn't even change anything. I'm still ugly. I still look the same," you know. So that tells you that it matters what you think on the inside, and that is reflected in your outside. Hence the principle. In a quick quote, we'll break it down. This corresponds to that. And I'll go to a Buddhist, some Buddhist literature, and it says, because this exists, that exists, and because that exists, this exists. This is how we are able to like calculate how hot the sun is or how large the sun is from here, because we know if we do some calculations here, it is reflected out there as well. So why is this important? Because it is a mirror of the inside, the outside is a mirror of the inside. Whatever you think and feel becomes the pattern that the outer world copies back to you. So if you're, just for example, if you're running around and judging people and being, you know, irritable and like got a low vibration going around, and you're like hurried and you're like tapping your feet and looking at your watch, when you're waiting in line, how you can see how that would be reflected back to you. Now the the clerk that's going to check you out will be kind of like, this guy is like rude and he's got a kind of a shitty attitude, and then you're going to get that back to you, you know. Uh, for instance, but on the flip side of that, if you're at ease and you're generally happy and you're patient, and you say hello to the clerk and they're going to say hello back. Reality is a mirror of your internal world. So where does the work need to be done? On the inside. Because the inside is the cause and the outside is the effect. I'll say that one more time. The inside is the cause of how the effect will be in the outside world. So the work is on the inside. So there's different planes of existence, okay, that are according to this principle. We have I'm going to erase what I have here. We have the physical plane. Actually, we'll put the physical down here. We all know what the physical plane is. It's, matter, it's it's atoms, it's molecules, it's elements, and those things come together and form different kinds of structures. And we're created from those structures full of atoms, like trillions of atoms. Uh, and everything that is made in this physical realm is made of these kind of things. So this is the world of form. And then one step up from that plane, we have the mental plane. Okay? That's our thoughts, beliefs, and imagination. Right? Because can you see a thought? Can you grab a thought? Can you take a picture of a thought? Can you cut somebody's brain open and see a thought? No. But thoughts produce physical, right? Nothing is created in this world unless it starts here. Okay? I'm gonna pick up my water bottle. I had to think about that before I did it. Thoughts originate in mind and they create the physical. This is important when it comes to manifesting the life that you want. Because you can't get something in the physical world without focusing mental attention on it. Okay, and then one level up from that is the spiritual plane. And the book goes deep on each one of these levels. Because just like I was mentioning in the physical, like you have even smaller, I don't know what to call them, material than an atom, right? Quarks, leptons, bosons, you have these quantum kind of field energy generated out of something, right? And it's all vibrating and it's all physical. We can measure it, we can see it, we can apply scientific investigation to it, right? Mental, we can do some scientific investigation with it. And there's definitely a lot of work being done in the psychic realm of things, clairvoyance and whatever the other one is, with telepathy and whatnot, um, hunches and intuition. Spiritual, spiritual is the highest plane. Okay, pure spirit is the all that I mentioned in my last video. This is the all is everything. So we'll put the all. The all is all of it. There's nothing outside of the all. So when it comes to correspondence, the law of correspondence corresponds on each one of the planes, and each plane corresponds together. Okay? When we manifest, we might pray to this, our desire comes in the mental, and then it becomes in the physical, right? There's a correspondence here. As within, so without. When I when I focus thoughts and then I use my imagination and then I create and take action in the physical, this is the foundation of manifestation. Just a little story. So 5 years ago, my inner world was chaos. Okay, lots of fear, lots of worry, lots of guilt, grief, self pity. This was my second awakening in my life. Spiritual awakenings can be completely insane. Okay, they call it the dark night of the soul. You can look that up if you want. But had a completely negative outlook on life. I didn't know where my life was going. Okay, my old life had crumbled to pieces. It was, for lack of a better term, referring to the Bible, built on sand. Okay, it had no firm foundation. I had no tools. I had no ways to cope with life. Okay, I was just running through life, trying to get money, trying to have fun, trying to feel good, trying to support my family. So when all that fell apart, I was very, I was a very negative person. Um, I I didn't see my kids for a while. My wife had left me. I was trying to figure out life. I was trying to get things back going. I was highly confrontational, highly isolated, and I wouldn't accept help the way people were trying to help me. I wanted them to help me the way I wanted them to help me. So I was very stubborn. And what was the outside world reflecting back to me? Roadblocks, a lot of contempt, confrontations, left and right. I would show love to some people and show like uh, generosity to some people, but my negativity was so deep that that was what it was just dark coming back at me. So I had a very low vibration. Uh, Shame, depression, guilt. These are low vibrations. We're gonna get into vibrations on the next video. I'm highly excited for that because I love talking about vibrations. I think it's key to living a good life. Your outer vibration will always mirror the internal vibration that you're at. Okay, and when I was in that super dark place mentally, physically, my outside world was the same. Your life is always talking back to you. So when I started using affirmations and started getting my life back together and quit alcohol and drugs and really hit rock bottom and said I'm going to make a change in my life, I just made a decision to do something different. And I started going to AA and I started getting help from the right people and started thinking the right way. My whole life changed. The outside world started changing. Opportunities started popping up. New people came into my life, and I started getting this momentum going. And that's what has brought me to this place. Because so now I know that when I'm what I'm working on a daily basis is my internal world, and if I want to go to a new place in my outside world, then I need to go to a new place on my internal world. On these three planes: spiritual, mental, and the physical. Here first, then here, then here. This is the order. See, the law of correspondence, as within, so without, is also called the mirror principle. So when you look at yourself in a mirror, and you have something on your face, do you try to clean off the mirror to get the thing off your face? No, you don't. You clean off your face within then the mirror clears up. Okay, so where is the work to be done? It's on the inside. How do you change your inside? You got to change your self-image. You got to change your beliefs. If you believe that you're a bad person, or that you're not good enough, or that you don't deserve money, or you don't deserve the right partner, then that is what the reflection you're going to get. If you believe on the inside that people treat you bad, that is what you're going to get. If you believe on the inside that you don't deserve the promotion, or that you're jealous of somebody else, that is what you're going to get back to you. It's always going to be a mirror. So if you want to have good things come into your life, you got to put out good things. You got to think good thoughts. You got to create new beliefs. I am worthy. Everything is always working out for me. Of course, I deserve the promotion. I do my best every day. I show up for my company every day. I'm very generous to people. I show a lot of love to people. Then people show love back to me. And it's not because I get the other thing, because it feels good to give, because it feels good to generate these good feelings and make other people's lives better. That's why. So, if the internal world that you're dealing with is not that great right now, if you have a lot of negative self talk or negative beliefs about the world, or maybe you just have a negative outlook on your life, like everything sucks, it's gotta start on the inside. You gotta feel the state that you desire in order to get it back in your life. Okay? So, the good thing about the brain and the mind, it can be rewired. All right, but it takes. I gotta write this down. Everybody got this? Good. When we start learning these laws and how the world works, we can use them for our advantage, right? Some people growing up, they just get these things by default, okay? Some of us, we have to learn the hard way, you know? Um, some people's lives and upbringings build these kind of principles in, and some people, not so much. And that's okay, either way. We know other things. We have other talents and abilities that we can share with those other people. So, where I was going with, so if you're working on beliefs, if you're working on negativity, if you're working on creating new thoughts, repetition. So, if you're working on those negative thoughts, negative beliefs, and you're trying to change within, it takes repetition. Okay? So, it takes repetition, but it also takes a couple other things. In the morning, right when you wake up, this is when your subconscious and your conscious mind are most open together. So, there's a door between the subconscious and the subconscious. Okay? In the morning and before bed. This is what your this is what your mind looks like, okay? We got the sub and the conscious. You got the conscious mind up here. You can't really see it on that, but you can see it over here. This is where your senses are taking everything in. This is your input and your output. This is interacting with the world. And this is beating your heart. This is where like deep rooted beliefs are. This is where all the sub programs that run your entire life. This is what allows you to breathe without consciousness. This is the subconscious, okay? And there's a little door right here in between here. And in order to reprogram this, morning, before bed, and repetition. So in the morning, that's when that door is open and you can start feeding it affirmations. And I do have a couple affirmation videos that I've published. And I had to do this multiple times a day because when you're in a negative state and you interpret the world as being negative and dark, there needs to be an overriding of that dialogue going on in your head. Okay. And before bed, definitely one of the best times that you can do this. Sleep meditation videos or audios, hypnosis audios, writing down who you are, who you want to be, uh, and affirming that way. It's good to write your own affirmations. So once we start changing these things, our internal world starts to change, and now you become worthy. The external world, your boss will look at you different. You know, the people around you will look at you different. That girl will look at you different. Because when you feel okay with yourself on the inside, you naturally just rise to more confidence, more self reliance, and more love for yourself that overflows to people on the outside. Now, there might be some other deeper things that need to be worked on as far as trauma, and I would recommend you to go to a therapist for that. We can rewire our mindset. What, like looking for things that are wrong in our world, we can rewire that to be looking for things that are right. You can use a daily gratitude practice for that. Just naming off a few things on a daily basis what you're thankful for. Clean water, food, and a shower. That's a good start. One more thing about the subconscious mind, it doesn't make decisions. Whatever the conscious mind tells the subconscious mind, it believes. Okay? This is a genie granting all your wishes. So if it says life is hard, your wish is granted. Life will be hard. And if you tell the subconscious mind life is easy for me, your wish is granted. Life will be easy for you. You are in control. This is taking back your power. Okay? Is you think life is controlling you, you actually are controlling life. That is the genius at the foundation of these principles. You are in control of this life. Your outside world is corresponding with your inside world. Who has control of the inside world? Not me. I don't have control of your inside world. Not your mom, not your dad, not your partner, not your boss. You have control of the inside. You're in there, aren't you? You're in your body, right? You are aware of your thoughts and your emotions. This is Michael Singer coming through me. Look him up. He's an awesome dude. He helped me out a ton in my life. Michael Singer. He always says, "You're in there, aren't you?" Yeah, I'm in here, Michael. I'm working on it, buddy. A lot of it's about getting perspective on life. That's what Michael Singer gave me, a ton of perspective. So, one more really famous quote. I don't know who said it originally, but you don't get what you want, you get who you are. Okay? So, this is a correspondence to the correspondence law. You don't get what you want in life, you get who you are. If you want the promotion, okay, you can want for 1,000 years, okay? But unless you think that you're worthy of that promotion, that you deserve that promotion, you will not get the promotion. When you become the person that is worthy of that promotion, you embody that, then you will get the promotion. It is law. You must get what you are. The outside is delayed, okay? It's not going to always be instant. Now, vibration, there can be some instant changes. You know, if you are greeting that clerk with a high vibration of love and peace and joy, you're going to get that back pretty quick. But deeper seated beliefs and deeper seated self image changes, it takes time for the outside world to catch up. So be patient, okay? When you make some changes on the inside, you might see the changes pretty quickly. You know, if you start saying, I'm a clean person, I clean my house, and I like to have a tidy place, you know, and you start working on that in repetition, and you visualize it morning and night, and you start doing affirmations about it, you will start changing. You'll walk by a messy place in your house, and you'll just automatically go over there and start cleaning it up because you're a clean person, because you take care of yourself. Maybe it's your grooming, you know, maybe It's your self-image. I dress nicely because I'm a respectable person. Cause and effect are different sides of the same coin. When we change the cause, the effect changes. Be the vibration you want to experience in the world, and the world will rearrange itself for you. All right, that's all I got for you today. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Vibrations coming your way. I wish you well on your expansion of consciousness. Namaste.